What's up guys, this is my first video, and as the title and thumbnail suggests, we'll be heading into what if Tanjiro had stone breathing. I'm not sure how people feel about this what if, but please don't leave just because my voice is slightly higher pitched than others. Now I will be doing what ifs only if this video hits my like goal of 5 likes in under 24 hours. So without further ado, let's get started. Now we start this scenario as the manga would have. A young Tanjiro watches his dad do the Hinokami dance. Their life was rather enjoyable despite their father's fatal illness, however things were soon to change. At the age of 10, Tanjiro's father had passed, and it was now Tanjiro's responsibility to perform the Hinokami dance every year. Tanjiro saw his sister, Nezuko. She was wearing a baggy old kimono and decided to work extra hours to earn money so he could buy her a new one. One day, he stays in town later than planned to sell charcoal and doing basic household chores. Kind old man lets Tanjiro reside in his house until the following morning, since it's dangerous travelling up the mountain at dark. Tanjiro always had a keen sense of smell, and that morning whilst heading up the mountain, he didn't want to believe it. As he travelled further up the mountain towards his house, the stench of blood became more positive. He finally reached his house, and horror struck him. His whole family, dead, butchered, laying across the red-ridden snow. He went inside. Nezuko wasn't there. Did she make it out alive? He searched the whole mountain until he finally came across an injured Nezuko. He embraced her. However, her moves were rabid and animal-like. He tried calming her down. However, this was to no avail, and a bulky figure struck down on Tanjiro and Nezuko, but Tanjiro threw himself in the way, taking the bulk of the attack. Tanjiro now had a gaping hole in his stomach as he looked up to see what we know as the stone Hashira, Gyome. Tanjiro and Gyome talk as Tanjiro takes a defensive stance, and whilst they're talking, Tanjiro tells him how Nezuko is the only person left for him, which brings the strongest Hashira to tears, which was common to people who knew him. Gyome is struck to his heart and remembers how he protected what he called family by a demon with his bare hands. Gyome introduces himself and says he's part of the Demon Slayer Corporation. He says if Tanjiro truly wants to protect his sister, he'll have to become strong, and Gyome was willing to help. Tanjiro looks to Nezuko, who could have just recently died, so he takes up Gyome's offer and becomes a disciple of the strongest Hashira. Gyome takes Nezuko and Tanjiro to the Demon Slayer Corporation, where a Hashira meeting is made. In this case, this is a lot earlier than in canon, as you should know. The trial goes as canon, however, as they test Nezuko. In this case, Tanjiro isn't there, since you know the fatal blow that Gyome gave his now own student. Now, considering we have 2 years from the current time of pure training until final selection, a lot of things will change. I feel as if Gyome's training will be far more brutal than that of what he did in canon. By he, I'm referring to Tanjiro. Gyome is an absolute beast, as we all know, and he will definitely try and make his student on that level. Tanjiro's first year of training will be focused on total concentration, breathing constant, and his physical strength. The training is brutal, resulting in a much bulkier and yet agile Tanjiro. His agility would be exceeding Kamayo's, which he struggled to surpass a lot later in the story. Gyome gives Tanjiro his Nichiren blade early, and as some of you know, Gyome's weapon, as I'm going to refer it to, is stated to have awe which surpasses that of the Sengoku era, where swordsmithing was at its finest. Now, Tanjiro is presented with some of the finest ores, better than the ores presented in canon. Now, I'm not much of an ore expert. Let's just say he picks one from the Sengoku period, where swordsmithing, as I said before, was at its finest. We skip a few weeks, and Tanjiro's Nichiren blade turns black, and for the next year they work on breathing styles and sword wielding. Quick note, when I say sword wielding, I refer to both weapons, e.g. the mason axe and Tanjiro's katana. Yes, Tanjiro also has a weapon which is exactly like Gyome's, with a huge spiky ball on one end and an axe on the other. This is since the majority of Gyome's moves are performed with the weapon. So yes, he has two weapons. We see a more physically capable Tanjiro here, with total concentration and breathing constant, which is a really big mouthful for me to keep saying without stuttering. So anyway, let's say it takes 6 months to get all stone breathing forms down. But you might ask why it takes a shorter period for him to get stone breathing, which is much more adept than water breathing. This is due to the less forms stone breathing has, as well as the more capable Tanjiro in this canon. Tanjiro, in the remaining 6 months, researches and learns about the Hinokami Kagura, or sun breathing. Now, since stone breathing has no physical form, and by this I mean other breathing styles show their element, like water style, we're going to make Tanjiro get the basics of sun breathing. He probably won't be too adept with it, but we're just going to say he gets the basics before final selection. Like I said, Tanjiro's breathing is more refined and his body's a lot stronger, so he feels less restrained trying to use the Hinokami Kagura, or sun breathing. Since he's basically paired up with the Demon Slayer corpse already, it makes sense that he can get more insight on the sun breathing technique. The training period is over and we see a more malicious, agile and overall stronger Tanjiro. Now we reach final selection and Tanjiro towers over every other student with his refined physique and the unusual weapon he carries. Now let's go over some of the forms of stone breathing for those who are unaware. The first form I believe is called Serpent-type Bipolar, where he throws his axe and spiky ball at the target at the same time, however he manipulates the chain to change the direction. The second form is called Upper Smash, where he throws his spiky ball into the air before stamping down on the chain, resulting in the spiky ball to fly down at incomprehensible speeds. The third form is Stone Skin, where he grabs the axe side of his weapon and rapidly slashes in a circular motion. For what I've seen in the manga, or this is my interpretation, this can basically hit multiple people in range or work as a good defense mechanism. The fourth form is Volcanic Rock Rapid Conquest, where he grabs onto the chains of both ends of his weapon and whips them round in a pincer-like motion. The fifth form and the final form is Arcs of Justice, which is a barrage of attacks caused by his axe and flail. Just letting everyone know, the flail is the official name for the spiky ball, which I will now be using for the rest of the what if. Now, after all of that, let's get into final selection. Tanjiro in this case is fast and uses keen sense of smell to seek out and hunt demons. He wasn't like the other contestants, he had a certain aura about him, which even shook some of the demons Tanjiro slaughters. Now, Tanjiro kills demon after demon until he comes up to the mutated hand demon, who's about to poach another contestant. Tanjiro acts swiftly and uses his axe to cut off the arm which was restraining the boy in a quick and almost untraceable motion. He told him to run, as Tanjiro assumed a fighting stance. They clash, and each of Tanjiro's blows eradicate the demon's flesh. Tanjiro doesn't use his breathing style, he wants to test the limits of his power. However, the mutated hand demon can't keep up with no breathing style. Tanjiro used the first form, as he starts to get bored, Serpent-type Bipolar, and he decapitates the demon in one elegant, smooth motion. The rest of the exam is a breeze, and Tanjiro passes. He sees the other contestants who made it through, and examines them. He was the only one unscathed. The others assumed he hit, but they were greatly mistaken. Genyo, like in canon, goes ballistic about his sword and grabs the little girl. Tanjiro breaks his arm before leaving, since he already has his Nichiren weapon. Tanjiro is congratulated by his master, Kyome, and Tanjiro thanks him for everything. Tanjiro and Nezuko leave, saying goodbye to the Stone Hashira. However, this wasn't the last time they see each other. He gets his first mission from the Crow, and he travels to the city. He seeks out and finds a swamp demon, who he absolutely obliterates in a matter of seconds, not allowing it to clone itself and do whatever it did before. He is congratulated and is rather surprised how he demolished the demon so quickly. He thought he'd have a bit more of a challenge. His next mission is to go to the unfamiliar city of Tokyo. There he ventures around, but not before stopping off to get some food. His keen smell picks up on something. Muzan Kitsubuji. I don't know if I butchered the second name, but let's keep going. He sprints into the city, leaving Nezuko behind as he finds Muzan. He grabs him and Muzan turns around. To Tanjiro's surprise, he has a kid in his hand. Was he posing as a human? However, Tanjiro is not shaken up by this, as he was in canon. He was still keen to confront Muzan. Muzan causes a distraction, slashing the nearby human's neck and turning him into a demon as he escapes slowly with his family. Tanjiro was unable to do anything. Tanjiro then meets Tamayo and they head back to her hideout. They go over the same stuff in canon before the Arrow and Tamari demon eventually find them. The fight ensues with Tanjiro taking on the Arrow demon and the Tamari demon at the same time. Nezuko tries to help, but Tanjiro reassures her that there's no need. Seeing that Nezuko is potentially in danger, there's no need to hold back. Tanjiro launches into battle and uses the full form volcanic rapid rock conquest, cutting the Tamari demon's body in two. Tanjiro launches his axe at the regenerating demon, decapitating her, leaving only the Arrow demon left. The Arrow demon sends a barrage of arrows which toss Tanjiro around. Tanjiro endures the attacks and waits for the split second opening before using first form, Serpent-type bipolar, resulting in the decapitation of the Arrow demon. And that is where we end part 1. I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Please let me know what I can improve and add in. Make sure you comment and tell me what I can add in, as I said before. And that's it for me.